In Tanzania, where rivers and wetlands weave through vast grasslands, there's a predator that even the strongest animals approach with caution. It is the Nile crocodile, a massive reptile that has ruled Africa's waterways for millions of years. Yet in this harsh landscape, the Hadzabe people continue to live, hunt, and travel along rivers where crocodiles are often found. They understand that nature not only provides life, but is always ready to take it away from anyone who lets their guard down. For that reason, they are sometimes forced to take part in one of the most dangerous hunts imaginable. The hunt does not begin with weapons, but with observation. The Hadzabe men pay close attention to every drag mark in the sand and every footprint pressed into the wet mud. From the shape of these signs alone, they can estimate the crocodile's size, determine the direction it traveled, and even tell how recently it left the water. The group may spend long minutes watching the river, listening for warning calls from birds, studying small ripples on the surface, and waiting for any indication that the predator is still nearby. For the Hadza, patience is far more important than speed. A single mistake can turn a hunt into a desperate struggle for survival. Once the crocodile's location has been confirmed, the group begins preparing. Bows are carefully inspected, bowstrings are tested repeatedly, and arrows and spears are sharpened before use. The Hadzabe know that a crocodile's hide is incredibly thick and tough, making precise shot placement far more important than raw strength. They prefer to act when the crocodile comes ashore to bask in the sun, where it has fewer advantages than it does in the water. Every movement is slow, deliberate, and silent. In a hunt like this, calmness is the most important weapon of all. The crocodile lies motionless like a giant log, yet remains aware of everything happening around it. The Hadzabe continue closing the distance, using tall grass and tree trunks for cover. If the shot is accurate enough, the crocodile can be wounded before it has a chance to return to the water. If it fails, however, the hunt is almost certainly over. When the lead hunter gives the signal, the arrow is released. The confrontation may last only moments, but every second is filled with tension as both sides fight for the same thing, the chance to survive. After the crocodile has been secured, the process of cleaning and butchering begins. For the Hadzabe, no part of the animal is wasted. The meat becomes a valuable source of nutrition for the community. The thick hide can be used for various purposes, and the bones and teeth are sometimes kept for tools or decoration. The success of the hunt does not belong solely to the hunter who fired the first shot. It is shared among everyone. That spirit of cooperation has helped the Hadzabe maintain their hunter-gatherer way of life through countless generations in one of the world's most challenging environments. Even so, hunting crocodiles is never a routine activity for the Hadzabe. They fully understand that this is one of Africa's most dangerous animals and avoid unnecessary confrontations whenever possible. Most of the time, they simply observe from a distance, choose safe places to collect water, and leave immediately if they notice signs of crocodile nearby. Their deep understanding of animal behavior has allowed them to survive for thousands of years without modern technology. They know when to move forward, when to wait, and most importantly, when to walk away. It is not fear, it is wisdom passed down through generations of living alongside the wild. As the sun slowly sets beyond the endless grasslands, the crocodile hunt comes to an end. For the Hadzabe, the greatest reward is not simply the animal brought home, but the teamwork and unity that made the hunt possible. Once the catch reaches camp, everyone gathers to prepare the meal, share the food, and sit together around the fire. In a wilderness filled with constant challenges, it is this sense of community, generosity, and shared knowledge that has allowed them to endure. More than any weapon or hunting skill, these values are what truly define the strength of the Hadzabe people.
When a thin veil of mist still hung over the vast grasslands surrounding Lake Eyasi in Tanzania, the Hadzabe camp was already beginning to awaken. The fire from the previous night still smoldered in the center of the clearing, sending wisps of smoke into the crisp morning air. Today was a special day. The hunters were not pursuing a single prey animal, but setting out with 3 different targets in mind on a long journey across the savannah. a rhinoceros, baboons, and an antelope. These animals possessed entirely different behaviors, demanding careful observation, adaptability, and hunting knowledge passed down through generations. After checking their bows, arrows, spears, and small axes carried at their sides, the hunting party quickly left the camp. They moved in a single file through low acacia bushes, making almost no sound at all.
Lead us to where they're bedded down.
On the damp ground still wet with morning dew, large footprints stood out clearly.
Baboon.
An older hunter stopped, crouched down to examine them, then signaled for the group to continue. The fresh tracks indicated that a rhinoceros had passed through the area not long before. The tracking expedition lasted for hours. Along the way, the group repeatedly discovered flattened patches of grass and broken low branches. All of these signs brought them closer to the massive animal. Finally, in a semi-flooded area, the enormous silhouette of the rhinoceros appeared in the distance. It was calmly feeding, completely unaware of the hunter's presence. The Hadzabe did not rush their approach. Taking advantage of the favorable wind direction, they circled through the bushes and patiently closed the distance. When the right moment arrived, the first arrows were released with remarkable accuracy. Startled, the rhinoceros charged forward in panic. Eventually, it collapsed in the grassland, marking the first success of the day. The hunters spent a few moments showing respect to the animal before continuing their journey. By then, the sun had climbed higher into the sky. The hunting party changed course toward the rocky hills where baboons were known to gather.
What will the day bring?
Unlike the rhinoceros, baboons are famous for their alertness and their ability to detect danger from great distances. From afar, the Hadzabe spotted the troop feeding and playing beneath the trees. They split up and approached from different directions, using the natural terrain to conceal their positions. Before the baboons realized anything was wrong, the first arrows had already left the bowstrings. Their coordinated teamwork allowed them to bring down their targets quickly before the troops scattered across the hillside. The second success of the day gave the hunters renewed motivation for the remainder of their journey. In the afternoon, as the sunlight began to soften, the hunters entered a vast grassland where antelope were commonly seen. These animals are among the fastest creatures on the savanna. Approaching them is always a challenge, as even the slightest unusual sound can cause an entire herd to vanish in an instant. The Hadzabe spent considerable time observing from a distance. They carefully watched the herd's movements and predicted the route it would take. A simple yet effective plan was soon put into action. When the antelope moved exactly as expected, the opportunity arrived. Arrows flew through the still afternoon air. One adult antelope was struck, and the hunters quickly moved in. Cheers echoed across the open grassland. This marked the third success of the day, bringing to a close a hunting journey that was both demanding and unforgettable. On the way back, the hunters took the opportunity to gather honey and several familiar wild fruits. As the sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon, the camp became lively once again. Fires were lit, and children gathered around the adults to listen to stories about the hunt. The hunters recounted every track they had discovered, every important decision made during the journey, and the lessons they had learned from nature.
When I'm eating the honey and the lava, the dogs, so the dogs are...
For the Hadzabe, hunting is far more than a means of finding food. It is also a way of passing down knowledge, developing patience, and maintaining a deep connection with the land they have inhabited for thousands of years. As night fell over Lake Iasi, the conversations gradually faded, giving way to the silence of the savannah. A successful day of hunting had come to an end, but the stories and lessons from that journey would continue to be told for generations to come.
As the first rays of sunlight appeared on the horizon, the African savanna and vast tropical forests slowly awakened after a long night. Soft golden light spread across tall grasslands and distant tree canopies. In the tribal settlement, the men began preparing for the day's hunt. They checked their bows, bindings, and essential equipment before setting out. Near the forest edge, a jaguar moved slowly through low bushes after a night of activity. Meanwhile, the tribesmen continued completing their preparations. The jaguar paused beside a large tree to mark its territory before moving deeper into the forest. After completing their preparations, the tribal group left the settlement and entered the tropical forest ahead. They maintained reasonable spacing so they could observe different directions while moving. The men at the front constantly watched the bushes and dense vegetation along the route. Deeper in the forest, the jaguar continued moving silently beneath the thick canopy. Several small animals quickly left the area after sensing the predator's presence. For a brief moment, the forest seemed unusually quiet. The tribal group continued deeper while carefully observing the open spaces ahead. Their search for the jaguar continued through the vast rainforest. Not long afterward, the tribal hunters discovered that the jaguar was active nearby. The animal lay low among the bushes while quietly observing the area ahead. From a distance, another animal entered its field of view. The jaguar slowly advanced step by step, creating almost no sound. The atmosphere around the area became tense as a hunt was about to unfold. In a sudden instant, the jaguar burst from its hiding place and chased its target. Rapid movements flashed through the dense vegetation.
Yeah.
The tribal hunters kept a safe distance and continued watching. After the brief hunt, the jaguar's location became clearer, allowing them to continue tracking it. The tribal group began following the jaguar's fresh tracks through the dense forest. The animal moved continuously through low bushes and vine-covered areas. It changed direction several times, making the pursuit more difficult. On the damp ground, fresh footprints continued to appear, showing that the distance between hunters and predator was gradually decreasing. Occasionally, the jaguar silhouette appeared between the leaves before disappearing again. Soon afterward, the animal suddenly emerged in an open area. Realizing the danger, it turned and ran through a patch of low vegetation. When the distance became close enough, arrows were used. The jaguar ran a short distance before slowing down and eventually being subdued. After the hunt ended, the tribal group continued searching for food in the forest. Some members discovered an area rich in edible roots beneath soft soil. Using simple tools, they dug large roots from the ground. The gathered food was quickly bundled together for easier transport. Continuing their journey, the group found a beehive attached to a large tree. Smoke was produced to drive the bees away for a short period. The honey was then carefully collected using containers they had brought with them. The group obtained both forest roots and honey before leaving the area. As the sun began to descend toward the edge of the forest, the tribal group returned to their familiar settlement. Bundles of roots, honey, and food gathered during the journey were carried back together. Everyone quickly collected dry firewood around the old cooking area. Before long, a fire was lit in the middle of the clearing. Some people prepared food, while others fetched water and organized resting places. smoke from the campfire drifted slowly above the treetops. Once the preparations were complete, everyone gathered around the fire to eat and rest after the long journey through the forest. The sun gradually disappeared beyond the distant horizon. The final light of the day spread across the forest and the open spaces surrounding the settlement. The campfire continued burning steadily while the surroundings became quieter. Nature brought another long day to a close, ending the hunting and food gathering activities that had taken place throughout the vast tropical forest.
Dawn gradually appeared over the vast tropical rainforest. The first light of the day filtered through the canopy and the open areas along the forest edge. In the settlement, the men began preparing for a new hunting trip. They checked their bows, bindings, and essential equipment before setting out. Deep within the forest, a large python remained hidden beneath the water. In the taller trees, troops of monkeys also began leaving their nighttime resting places to search for food. Farther away, many grazing animals emerged into open clearings to feed. The atmosphere of the forest became increasingly lively as a new day began. After completing their preparations, the tribal group left the settlement and moved deeper into the forest. They traveled through areas filled with large trees and dense vegetation. Meanwhile, the monkeys constantly shifted between locations where food was abundant. Some descended to the ground before quickly returning to safer areas. Sounds from many different animals echoed throughout the forest. The tribesmen continuously watched the path ahead and the areas on both sides as they moved. The journey stretched across various landscapes with constantly changing terrain. Occasionally, the group paused briefly to observe the area ahead before continuing deeper into the forest. While moving through a densely vegetated area, the tribal group spotted a large python lying among the fallen leaves on the forest floor. Its coloration allowed it to blend almost perfectly into the surrounding environment. The snake slowly crawled through low vegetation before heading toward a group of large trees. Not long afterward, it wrapped itself around a sturdy branch and remained motionless while observing the area below. As its massive body became more visible among the leaves, the tribesmen quickly gathered beneath the tree where the python rested. After determining a favorable distance, they used their bows. The python was successfully subdued. Leaving the area where the python had been captured, the tribal group continued deeper into the forest. Before long, they discovered a troop of monkeys active near an open clearing among large trees. Many individuals moved constantly between the ground and low branches while searching for food. Suddenly, the appearance of a predator caused the entire troop to become alert. Several monkeys immediately focused their attention on the threat and began making warning calls. A brief confrontation followed before the danger moved away from the area. As conditions gradually returned to normal, one adult monkey started moving away from the main group. The tribesmen immediately noticed this individual. The monkey quickly sensed unusual movements and began leaving the area. It repeatedly changed direction while moving between tree trunks and open spaces in the forest. In the distance, the remaining monkeys became increasingly agitated by the situation. Meanwhile, the tribal hunters continued tracking the animal and gradually reduced the distance between them. After a fairly long pursuit, the monkey appeared in a location that was easier to observe. The hunters quickly determined a suitable range for using their bows. Arrows were released as soon as an opportunity appeared. The monkey moved a short distance farther before being subdued and carried away. After completing the hunt, the tribal group carried their catch back to the settlement. The monkey was taken to the food preparation area while everyone began gathering dry firewood. Before long, a fire was lit in the familiar clearing. Some people prepared the food that had been brought back, while others collected water and arranged the dining area. The smell of cooking food gradually spread throughout the settlement as meal preparation continued. Members of the tribe slowly gathered around the fire. Once everything was ready, everyone shared food, talked, and rested after a long day. The sun gradually disappeared behind the vast tropical rainforest. The final light of the day spread across the treetops and remaining open spaces. The busy sounds of daytime slowly faded away. Farther into the forest, wildlife returned to its usual rhythm of activity. Another long day in the rainforest came to a close.
Antes de que los primeros rayos de luz aparecieran en el horizonte del Valle del Rift, el pequeño asentamiento de los Hadzabe ya había comenzado a despertar. No había relojes despertadores ni planes escritos en papel. El canto de las aves entre la niebla matinal y el aire frío que se deslizaba entre las copas de las acacias eran la llamada familiar que anunciaba el comienzo de un nuevo día. Hoy no era una cacería enfocada en un único objetivo. Era una expedición que duraría toda la jornada, durante la cual los cazadores buscarían todas las fuentes de alimento que la naturaleza ofrecía generosamente en las tierras salvajes de Tanzania. Los hombres se reunieron alrededor de las brasas que aún permanecían encendidas desde la noche anterior. En silencio revisaban sus arcos, flechas y las pequeñas hachas que siempre llevaban consigo. Una atmósfera de tranquilidad envolvía al grupo. Para los Hadzabe, la caza no comienza con el movimiento sino con la observación. Antes de internarse en la maleza, dedicaban tiempo a estudiar el suelo, percibir la dirección del viento y escuchar cada sonido que llegaba desde la distancia. En su mundo, una pequeña huella sobre la tierra o un ruido fugaz podían determinar el éxito o el fracaso de toda la jornada.
Last night is too long ago, so we kept.
No pasó mucho tiempo antes de que un grupo de cazadores descubriera huellas recientes de una manada de antílopes sobre una pradera todavía cubierta por el rocío de la mañana. Las marcas de los cascos impresas claramente en la tierra blanda indicaban que los animales habían pasado por allí poco antes. El rastreo se desarrolló en absoluto silencio. Cada cazador eligió una dirección distinta, aprovechando el terreno natural y los arbustos bajos para ocultar su presencia. Después de casi una hora siguiendo el rastro con paciencia, un joven antílope se separó temporalmente de la manada al adentrarse en una zona con abundante vegetación. En el instante en que surgió la oportunidad, una flecha salió disparada con precisión. La primera fuente de alimento del día ya estaba en sus manos. Sin embargo, aquello era solo el comienzo de la jornada. Mientras algunos permanecían atrás para procesar la presa obtenida, otros continuaron avanzando hacia las áridas tierras que se extendían frente a ellos. En el cielo, unas aves rapaces que volaban en círculos de manera inusual llamaron de inmediato la atención de los cazadores más experimentados. Los Hadzabe sabían que el comportamiento de estas aves suele revelar información importante. Tras observar cuidadosamente la dirección de su vuelo, descubrieron el cadáver de un animal cerca del lecho seco de un río. Junto a él también encontraron las huellas de un león macho adulto. Nadie pensó en enfrentarse al rey de la sabana. Simplemente memorizaron aquella zona peligrosa y cambiaron silenciosamente de rumbo para continuar su recorrido por un camino más seguro, cuando el sol alcanzó lo más alto del cielo. El calor comenzó a extenderse sobre la sabana, haciendo que el aire pareciera vibrar sobre el suelo. El grupo de cazadores se dirigió hacia un río donde numerosas especies acudían en busca de agua. Allí detectaron rápidamente largas marcas sobre el barro de la orilla, una señal inconfundible de que un cocodrilo acababa de salir del agua. Los Hadzabe conocían perfectamente el peligro que representaba este depredador. En lugar de arriesgarse a acercarse demasiado, optaron por observar desde una distancia segura. Tras un largo periodo de espera, aprovecharon el momento adecuado para aproximarse a un ejemplar más pequeño que descansaba lejos de las aguas profundas. Gracias a la coordinación precisa entre los miembros del grupo, la caza terminó rápidamente antes de que los demás cocodrilos comprendieran lo que estaba ocurriendo. La tarde trajo consigo un desafío diferente. Sobre las formaciones rocosas de la distancia comenzaron a aparecer varias tropas de babuinos. Estos animales son conocidos por su extrema vigilancia y por mantener siempre individuos encargados de observar los alrededores. Bastaba con detectar cualquier señal extraña para que toda la tropa desapareciera casi de inmediato. Los cazadores tuvieron que avanzar con enorme cautela, arrastrándose entre los arbustos y aprovechando cada sombra disponible para acercarse poco a poco. La perseverancia mantenida durante horas finalmente dio resultado cuando lograron reducir la distancia suficiente para efectuar un disparo certero. Cuando la oscuridad cubrió por completo la sabana, el grupo regresó al campamento. Pronto encendieron grandes montones de leña y el cálido resplandor del fuego disipó las sombras que se extendían a su alrededor. Toda la carne obtenida durante el día fue distribuida de manera equitativa entre las familias de la comunidad. Nadie intentó quedarse con la mejor parte. Los niños se reunieron alrededor de la hoguera y escucharon atentamente a los mayores relatar los acontecimientos de la jornada, desde el rastreo de los antílopes en la pradera hasta los tensos momentos vividos junto al río habitado por cocodrilos. Cada historia se convertía en una valiosa lección que ayudaba a las generaciones más jóvenes a comprender mejor el arte de sobrevivir en medio de la inmensidad de la naturaleza. En medio de la oscuridad de la noche africana, mientras el sonido de los insectos se mezclaba con el viento que recorría la sabana, la vida de caza de los Hadzabe tenía un significado mucho más profundo que la simple búsqueda de alimento. Era la expresión de conocimientos transmitidos a lo largo de innumerables generaciones, de la capacidad para comprender las señales de la naturaleza y del respeto hacia todos los seres vivos que comparten esta tierra. En una época en la que las máquinas y la tecnología están presentes en todas partes, ellos continúan manteniendo una forma de vida ancestral, donde la supervivencia depende de una mirada atenta, de la paciencia y de un vínculo inquebrantable con el mundo salvaje que los rodea.
Under the harsh sun of Tanzania, where golden grasslands and thorny brush stretch all the way to the horizon, life can seem almost impossible. Yet in this unforgiving landscape, the Hadzabe people continue to live a hunter-gatherer lifestyle that has endured for thousands of years. They are considered one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer communities on Earth, and I had the opportunity to travel alongside them and experience their traditional way of life firsthand. There are no modern cities, no machines, and no advanced technology. Everything they need comes directly from nature: water sources, wild plants, animal tracks, and survival knowledge passed down through countless generations. They simply live by a different rhythm, one that has sustained their community for thousands of years. My day began before sunrise. In the dim light of dawn, the Hadzabe men quietly prepared for a new journey and set out across the vast savanna. They moved with remarkable calm, paying close attention to every sign nature left along the way. There was no rushing and no impatience. They waited patiently for the right opportunity, because that is the essence of survival here. As the sun climbed higher, the group discovered large tracks pressed deep into the dry ground near a dense patch of brush. Based on the hunter's experience, the tracks were fresh and belonged to a pride of male lions moving through the area. The atmosphere immediately became tense. For the Hadzabe, tracking one of Africa's most formidable predators is far more than a simple search. It is a test of skill, focus, and the ability to read the natural world. The group moved carefully, maintaining a safe distance while making sure not to lose the trail. The tracks led them across tall grass, thick thorny vegetation, and well-worn animal paths. Eventually, in an open area ahead, the massive silhouette of a male lion appeared between the low bushes. Its dark mane shifted gently in the breeze as it walked across the dry grass. The tension instantly intensified. The Hadzabe hunters lowered themselves to the ground, quietly raised their bows, and positioned their arrows. Every eye was fixed on the target ahead. When the lion paused for a brief moment, an arrow suddenly flew through the air. The animal immediately roared and burst through the brush, beginning a tense pursuit across the vast Tanzanian savanna. But the challenge was far from over. On the way back, another danger suddenly emerged. From a thick wall of brush ahead, a massive rhinoceros stepped into view. Its enormous size and unpredictable nature demanded caution from everyone. The Hadzabe men did not panic. They stood still, watching and waiting. The rhino stared at us with clear suspicion. I could barely breathe. Time seemed to stretch endlessly until the animal finally turned around and slowly disappeared into the wilderness. Back at the camp, the familiar rhythm of daily life quickly resumed. Some people gathered firewood, children played around the fire, and elders shared old stories with the younger generation. Food was prepared and distributed according to traditions that have existed for generations. For the Hadzabe, sharing is just as important as finding food. That sense of community is what has allowed them to endure for so many centuries. As the sun rose higher over Tanzania, I began to understand the profound difference between modern life and the way the Hadzabe live. They do not try to conquer nature, they adapt to it. They take only what they truly need and never store more than necessary. Their way of life offers a powerful lesson: patience matters more than speed, sharing matters more than ownership, and harmony matters more than control. The Hadzabe do not simply live in nature, they are a part of it. And perhaps the greatest lesson they leave behind is this: survival is not about defeating nature, but about learning to listen to it and respect it.
Not invested in the rise of popularity.
The early morning light spread dimly across the wide stretch of water in front of the living area. Mist still clung to the low bushes near the riverbank. No one spoke loudly. The men quietly picked up the spears, harpoons, and binding ropes that had been prepared earlier. A few checked the spear tips by hand before placing them close to their sides. Unnecessary tools were left behind. Every movement was slow and familiar, as if repeated many times before. Once everything was ready, the group began leaving the living area. In the distance, a brief disturbance appeared on the water surface before quickly disappearing. No one stopped to watch for long. The silent rhythm of preparation continued uninterrupted. The group moved into the low forest behind the river. Their formations spread slightly apart to maintain a wider field of view while moving. No one walked too close to another person. Every step was placed low and slowly to reduce noise. Occasionally, the group paused for a few brief seconds before continuing in the same direction. Their eyes constantly shifted between the ground ahead and the low bushes on both sides. There was no clear signal, yet everyone maintained the same steady pace. The sound of water echoing from a distance became clearer as they moved deeper into the forest. The surrounding air felt denser and quieter than before. No one looked back during the entire movement. A sudden large movement appeared on the water ahead. Ripples spread across the surface before vanishing quickly. Within only a few short seconds, the back of a crocodile surfaced close to the waterline before sinking immediately again. There was no second appearance, but that alone was enough for the entire group to focus in the same direction. No one moved faster. No one made loud noises. They kept their distance and continued watching in silence. The water gradually became calm again, but the atmosphere had clearly changed. A few men tightened their grip on the spears in their hands. Their eyes remained fixed on the area where the movement had appeared. The silence lasted for several seconds before everything continued. Everything happened very quickly immediately afterward. A powerful movement shattered the water surface in an instant. Water sprayed high into the air, and a loud sound broke through the previously quiet surroundings. Spears were raised almost simultaneously. No one shouted loudly. There was no time for slower reactions. The movement on the water became chaotic for a few brief seconds before gradually slowing down. It was impossible to clearly see the entire process because everything happened too fast. Only large waves spreading outward remained visible. Right after that, the scene shifted to the crocodile lying motionless near the water's edge. No further prolonged action followed. The climax ended almost instantly after that brief moment of chaos. After returning to the living area, a few people began gathering dry wood around the open space near the old fire pit. Small branches were stacked in layers to keep the fire burning more steadily. The atmosphere now felt much slower than before. The fire was quickly lit, and smoke began drifting lightly around the area. No detailed processing scenes were shown for long. Only pieces of meat placed near the fire could be seen preparing for roasting. One person sat low beside the hot coals, constantly adjusting the wood with a small branch. Others prepared the surrounding ground so they could sit closer to the fire. The firelight continuously reflected on the dark ground and nearby tree trunks. As the coals became evenly hot, pieces of meat were placed directly above them. The smell of smoke spread throughout the living area. Everyone sat near the fire and ate as soon as the meat began cooking. There was no clear division or fixed order. Meanwhile, a few others left the area to collect water from sandy spots in the forest. They used their hands and wooden sticks to dig into the damp sand beneath the surface. After a short while, water slowly seeped upward. The water was collected using simple containers and carried back to the fire area. Smoke, firelight, and the steady rhythm of daily activity gradually replaced the tense atmosphere from earlier. After the meal ended, the atmosphere around the living area became much quieter. A few people remained near the fire to continue adding wood and keep the flames burning steadily. Others sat silently watching the surroundings. In the distance, the river's surface had returned to its normal state. Smoke from the fire continued rising slowly into the darkening sky above the forest.
In 2026, while the world runs on tight schedules and artificial intelligence, at Lake Eyasi in northern Tanzania, the Hadzabe tribe still ventures into the forest empty-handed. There are no backup plans, no second chances, and no help from technology. They wake up and survive in their own way, as they have for thousands of years, walking barefoot on the earth. Let's step into this unexpected encounter, where instinct and experience are the only guides. Following nature's trails, the hunters hear a bird leading them straight to a large tree filled with wild honey. They harvest and eat immediately, taking in crucial energy for the long hunting journey ahead. At the same time, this is how they stay in rhythm with the natural world. Before moving on, the Hadzabe prepare their hunting tools, handcrafted wooden arrows coated with sap from the desert rose to form a lethal toxin. Bows made from wild animal sinew are checked carefully to ensure the tension is strong enough to pierce the thick hides of buffalo and other large animals. Every step is carefully calculated, as their tools are what determine the success of the hunt. The Hadzabe read every sign on the ground, faint footprints, wet mud, wind direction, or even the condition of animal droppings. All of it reveals the location and behavior of their target. Following the trail, they spot a wild buffalo resting in a nearby clearing. They do not attack immediately, but patiently watch the wind to avoid detection. When the distance is right, a poisoned arrow is released. The buffalo runs for a short distance before slowing down as the poison takes effect. After taking down the first buffalo, the Hadzabe continue tracking and spot another herd moving nearby. They split into smaller groups, approaching each animal silently, striking the largest first, and ready to pursue if necessary. Thanks to their teamwork, every buffalo is brought down safely, avoiding disruption of the herd and unnecessary risk. Not only do the Hadzabe hunt buffalo, but they also pay close attention to other animals in the area, especially crocodiles along the lakeshore. They follow each muddy track and wet footprint, observing how the crocodiles move and choosing the perfect moment to strike. When a crocodile surfaces to sun itself on the bank, the hunters take careful aim from their hiding spots, hitting vital areas with poisoned arrows. The crocodile retreats to the water, its mobility reduced, and the Hadzabe patiently wait, approaching when the animal is weakened. This hunting method relies more on biological knowledge, patience, and teamwork than on brute strength. Once all targets are down, the Hadzabe begin processing the meat. Buffalo and crocodile are divided fairly among all members according to established customs. No one is prioritized, whether they made the kill or are the leader. From elders and women to young children, everyone receives their share. They cook directly over hot embers, using even the bones and nutrient-rich parts of the crocodile to avoid wasting any natural resources. When eating, the Hadzabe focus not only on nourishment but also on community. Everyone gathers around the fire, sharing food and stories, teaching children survival skills, how to read animal tracks, and how to understand the wind. This absolute fairness in sharing sustains their social cohesion, allowing the tribe to survive thousands of years without internal conflict. The Hadzabe's hunting and eating practices are not just acts of survival, they are lessons in patience, teamwork, understanding nature, and respect for all living things. They take only what they need, never greedy, and always maintain ecological balance. Their minimalist lifestyle, community spirit, and survival skills offer invaluable lessons we can learn from the Hadzabe tribe.